It's interesting to see how we can at least get this is when I feel like we first get the first like a real sample size as to how anybody's played. Like baseball season's so long. This is one of the hardest things. Like you get a little more of an idea in the NBA kind of early on how a season is going to go for somebody. And that doesn't
Sure.
mean it's a guarantee. Like Luka Doncic had a rougher start to the beginning of the season. And like we've talked about before, if from, mid-January on, if he had had those numbers from what he did mid-January on, throughout the entire year, there's a chance he would have won MVP this year. I mean, he was a monster at the end of the regular season. But you tend to have a little more of an idea of where you are earlier in an NBA season. Baseball, you have guys in April and May that are in major slumps that just aren't hitting the ball well, or just they haven't really ramped up for the entire season. And this season even more because you're looking at condensed spring training. It was even worse for pitchers. They're still ramping those guys and stretching them out. They're going 5 innings and you're taking them out because they don't want anybody to get hurt this early. So this has been a little bit harder this season, I think, in certain areas to really gauge how a player is going to look throughout the entire season, or at least bare minimum, you say, all right, I'm not going to judge it by the first 3 weeks of the season, the first month, because a normal 162 game schedule is already going to take a long time. But this year, and the start off we had is even worse. Not to mention people weren't hitting the ball the same way. You're talking about unders constantly hitting in every single game. Now the weather's finally warmed up. It took forever for that to happen. So I'd be curious to see how much that affects things too, where you're playing in more warmer climates. Ball's going to travel a little bit farther. Who knows how many different types of baseballs they have now? Everybody's arguing as to whether it's the same ball, different ball, or whatever the case is. But that could really alter a lot when it comes to anybody at the plate as we move forward too.
Yeah, absolutely.